He built me a panic room and then tried to trap me in it. I married Seth when I was 24. Back then, he was the total package. Handsome, good job in IT, charming, the kind of guy who opened doors and remembered your coffee order. He was protective too, which I thought was sweet, until I realized it was more hovering helicopter parent than knight in shining armor. When we bought our first house, Seth became obsessed with security. He read crime stats for our zip code like it was bedtime reading. Over dinner, he'd bring up news stories about burglaries or home invasions, staring at me like I should be taking notes. "We need to be prepared for anything," he kept saying. Then came the panic room project. He cleared out a section of the basement and spent months transforming it. Soundproofed the walls, reinforced the door, installed a bed and a small shower stall. The floor was covered in thick rubber matting. There was even a mini fridge, shelves with canned food, and a ventilation system. But the weirdest part was the biometric lock. Only his fingerprint or a code he programmed could open it. I joked it was a bunker. He smiled and said, "Better safe than sorry." He gave me a quick tutorial on how to use it like he was teaching me how to work a microwave. Looking back, the way he controlled that door's access should have been a red flag. Fast forward 5 years. Our marriage was unraveling. Seth had gone cold, glued to his phone, and constantly working late. Then I found out he was cheating with a woman from his office. I filed for divorce, and Seth immediately went full scorched earth. He started hiding assets, closing credit cards, forgetting to pay bills. 2 weeks before our court date, he told me the upstairs bathroom had a major plumbing leak, and contractors were coming. "It's gonna be loud and messy for a few days," he said. "Why don't you stay in the panic room? It'll be quieter." I was mentally exhausted and honestly wanted to avoid him. So that night, I took my pillow, phone charger, and a water bottle down there. It was set up almost like an underground studio apartment. Bed, fridge, small table. I curled up and watched Netflix until I fell asleep. The next morning, I went to leave. The door wouldn't open. I tried again. Nothing. I pressed the emergency release he'd shown me. Still nothing. That's when I noticed the code on the keypad wasn't the one he'd given me. My stomach turned to ice. I grabbed my phone and called my lawyer, Rachel. Thankfully, I had decent cell reception down there. She told me to stay calm while she called the police. Meanwhile, my brain was spiraling. This room was completely soundproof. If my phone died, no one would even know I was in there. 3 hours later, I heard a loud metallic bang. The cops had to use specialized breaching equipment to get through the door. I stumbled out, shaking and crying. They found Seth upstairs, acting all innocent, like he was the concerned husband. Rachel explained what he'd done. While I was locked in, Seth had filed an emergency motion in court, claiming I'd voluntarily relocated to the panic room and abandoned the rest of the house. His goal was to convince the judge I'd given up my right to live there, so he could claim sole use of the property and cut off my spousal support. Police searched his phone and found texts to his girlfriend bragging about finally clearing her out and making her live in the dungeon. He even joked about letting her rot until the divorce was finalized. In court, his lawyer tried to play it off as sarcasm. The judge, who looked like she'd seen it all, said she had never witnessed something so calculated and cruel in 2 decades on the bench. I walked away with the house, more spousal support than I originally asked for, and a restraining order. Seth lost visitation rights with our kids until he passed a psych evaluation. As for the panic room, first thing I did was hire contractors to demolish it completely. Now, the space is a bright yoga studio. I meditate right where he thought he could bury me alive.